Who is that guy? Who is he? Ordinary looking guy, not a bad looking guy, just like a kind of generic looking man. There should be nothing generic about this guy. The whole country should know who Michael Sussman is. Michael Sussman, lawyer for the Hillary Clinton campaign, that may have been the critical link in this whole Russia hoax. So, he's finally in federal court. He's facing charges of lying to the FBI. He's in a fair amount of trouble right now, big trouble. John Durham is the prosecutor. You know, he's been looking into the Russia hoax for a couple of years now. Finally, someone's going to stand trial. But nobody seems to know about it. I watched all of the network news. I've gone through all the papers. Not one word about this case. Why is it? Why is that? Well, let's see if we can figure out this riddle. Anti-Trump bias? Pro-Democrat media? Yeah, because whenever any figure in Trump world was remotely accused of everything, well, they stopped everything and went bananas. Remember Paul Manafort? Paul Manafort wasn't a famous person. Not really. People knew him in political circles until he got caught up in, well, the web of Trump haters. And then everything fell apart. And then his trial, which had basically nothing to do with Trump, they did go bananas.
Day 558 of the Trump administration and day one of the Paul Manafort trial.
Paul Manafort is in U.S. District Court right now as day one in the first trial related to the special counsel Robert Mueller gets underway.
This is a huge day, the first public glimpse into Robert Mueller's world since he launched this investigation.
Today, Paul Manafort has his day in court.
And Paul Manafort will be back in court this morning for the second day of his high-stakes criminal trial.
Wow, high-stakes criminal trial. Paul Manafort, they're all there. Norah O'Donnell, Lester, Bill, all of them. Meanwhile, Mr. Sussman, this is the only picture we could get. There's nobody covering this thing. Mr. Sussman is an important figure in all of this. But I guess he has what? Democrat media immunity? Hey, remember Roger Stone? Now, Roger Stone, colorful guy. Lots of people know who he is. But not so much outside of the political world up until, again, he got ensnared in the world of Trump haters. And then all hell broke loose.
Roger Stone's trial kicking off with jury selection today.
Jury selection starts today in the criminal trial of longtime Trump advisor Roger Stone.
The trial of former Trump campaign advisor Roger Stone continued Wednesday in Washington.
The biggest case out of the Mueller report, the criminal trial of Roger Stone, begins.
Wow! That's pretty intense. Sounds like a movie almost. And it goes on and on and on like this. Any minor, mediocre, average, superlative, whatever, if you're in Trump world, they want to get you in trouble and they'll make the biggest deal out of it. George Papadopoulos.
Papadopoulos has cooperated now with authorities, and it notes here that he has met with the government on numerous occasions to, quote, provide information and answer questions.
Papadopoulos has cut a deal with Mueller.
The Papadopoulos case is huge.
The special counsel announced a plea deal with a former Trump campaign advisor who's agreed to cooperate.
The sentencing this evening of a member of President Trump's campaign team in the special counsel's Russia investigation, George Papadopoulos.
A 2-week sentence. A 2-week sentence. There were harsher sentences on Andy Griffin. Wow. Wall-to-wall coverage. Not a word about this Sussman case, which is far bigger, far more relevant. All right, so let's put up the defendants we've been talking about. We got 4 of them. The 3 associated with Trump world in any way, shape, or form, no matter how minor. Wall-to-wall media coverage. Prosecutors go totally nuts. With Sussman, a key player in Clinton land, media silence, prosecutors take a million years to do anything. And by the way, I'm grateful for what John Durham is doing. But come on, anyway, Trump was right.
The radical left Democrats are trying to rip our nation apart. First, it was the Russia hoax, total hoax. It was a failed overthrow attempt and the biggest fraud in the history of our country.
He's totally right. He's totally right. He's always right. He's almost always right, especially when they don't believe him. Wow. When they resist, you know he's right.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie.
And it's true. This phony baloney investigation initiated by the Clinton campaign in the sealed dossier, actually, yeah. Michael Sussman took phony information from a tech executive. He was being paid by Hillary Clinton, and then he pays a visit to the FBI and says, oh, I've got all this information. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. Now, the prosecutor believes that that was a great big lie. Oh, you know what's fascinating? Look at these text messages from Sussman to the chief lawyer at the FBI, a guy named Baker. Jim Baker, it's Michael Sussman. I have something time-sensitive and sensitive I need to discuss. Do you have availability for a short meeting tomorrow? And this is the critical part that the prosecutors think is a lie. I'm coming on my own, not on behalf of a client or company. I just want to help the Bureau. Mind you, he's working for the Hillary Clinton campaign. The chief lawyer drops everything. Okay, I will find the time. 2 p.m. in my office. Do you have a badge or do you need help getting into the building? Look at this. Michael Sussman, ordinary lawyer, just doing his own work here. I have a badge. Please remind me of your room number, which he helpfully provides. How about that for Swamp? How about that for Swamp? Hey, it gets even swampier. Who remembers Robbie Mook? Robbie Mook was the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. There he is over Hillary's shoulder. He testified today, and he said that he gave the information to the media. This phony information that was going to the FBI, he also gave it to the media. Going to the FBI does not seem like a very effective way to get that information out to the public. We do that through the media, he said. Next up, Mook also said that somewhere around that time he informed Clinton personally, and she concurred. I discussed it with Hillary as well, Mook said. She agreed to that. She thought we made the right decision. Wow. All these people doing all this stuff for Hillary. Why Hillary? What's so special about her, huh? I mean, she's a flawed candidate, a flawed Secretary of State, a flawed First Lady, yet you got all these people seemingly willing to break the law to help her. Her?
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
I just don't understand why all these people would go to such lengths to help her and to help Joe Biden. Really, ruining this country, burning it to the ground, to get Trump out, to get this guy in. Does that make any sense? You know, really, they're so terrified of Trump. I mean, they've let their imagination run away from them. But the real threat to America was never Trump. Trump is I think, could save America. But it's their overreaction, liberal overreaction to Trump that threatens America. Big time. These people have convinced themselves of so many lies about Trump and his supporters, and they will do anything. And it is, at times, tearing this country apart. It doesn't have to be this way. All right, I want to wrap up the first part of the show with something kind of bizarre, kind of funny. Doctora Jill Biden, not a real doctora, she was in Ecuador? Ecuador. And listen to how she greeted the audience. She made such a big deal about saying good afternoon in Spanish.
Thank you for your warm hospitality and welcome. I am honored to be here in this beautiful capital today. And on behalf of my husband and the people of the United States, buenas tardes.
On behalf of her husband, the president, and the people of the United States, good afternoon. I mean, I could see I bring you peace, I bring you, but good afternoon. All right, so on behalf of The Greg Kelly Show, Newsmax in general, producers, production assistants, techies, graphics department, I say we'll be back after the break.